We're here live. Thanks for joining us because it's your business with Jess and Nora live.
I just wanna know why. It is Monday. This is day 3 of our You've Got This Online Summit, and Nora and I are here for the It's Your Business show. And I love Parpar. Every time I see him and I hear his voice, I get more excited. How about you, Nora?
Absolutely. He is just the cutest thing ever.
And we really like his voice too. And we will have information about who the guy is that actually does his voice on our website after this is all over. So, we've been starting every session of the summit with a word, and I thought that was kind of a cool thing to carry along for Nora and myself today. So as I was listening to Parpar this morning and watching that intro, Nora, the word that came to mind was turquoise.
Beautiful, Jess. Love that. I love how you pick colors, too.
Everybody, did you see how she lit up at the word turquoise? Now you know why. Infusion Principle and everything around Infusion Principle has some element of turquoise in it. This is Nora's favorite color, and it means a lot. What does it mean to you, Nora?
Oh, you know, I just think it's one of those fun, vibrant, energetic, gender-neutral colors. It just energizes me and makes me happy. So I appreciate you not being attached to any other color so that way I could have turquoise.
And every color I like complements turquoise. Yellow, red, navy, or not navy, royal blue, right? All those things go great with turquoise. So it's all good. Yeah. And when I think about turquoise, I actually think of it somewhat of a calming color and energizing all at the same time. We've got that yin and the yang both in there.
Nope.
And that's something that I really liked from Copeland's talk yesterday. When he talked about honoring you, we got to see some of that and leading from the heart.
You know, that's really funny because I, of course, have my cup of tea, and it's a yogi tea, and a tea you sent me, the purple one, since we're going with colors this morning. And the message of it was, be proud of who you are, which goes back to Copeland and honoring who you are and accepting it and changing what you would like to have different. But yeah. So let's hear from Copeland.
The solution is always on the inside. It's never on the outside. But we've been so conditioned to always focus on the things that are outside. Everything that you do, every step that you take, every breath that you take, it's coming from somewhere. And everything that you do affects everything else around you. You have to be who you are regardless of the situation that's going on outside. For the most part, when you are truly leading with that inside part of you, this is the divine spirit. But once you start to tap into that inner divine self that you now have a connection to this divine creative source. And now you have the ability to alter that plan the same way how you see fit, as if you were that divine source. And every young entrepreneur out there has to understand that the business that they're creating is actually supposed to be a reflection of who you are on the inside. You're actually sharing yourself with the world. So I always tell everybody, look inside. Why is it that you're doing what you're doing? Make sure that the reason why you're doing it is because it's something that you love to do. The only thing that ever stops success is not failure, because failure is an illusion. Failure is nothing more than an opportunity to learn. The only thing that ever stops success is you, if you decide to stop and do. Once you've found your passion and you've found your purpose, if you keep your thoughts and your spirit consistent with that, you're always going to get to where you have to get to.
I'm telling you. So just rewatching that got me excited all over again, because one of the things that he said when he was talking about, it doesn't matter what's going on around you, it's just what matters, what's in your heart. And I think when we get worried or we think too much about what's around us, we get uncomfortable.
Absolutely. We do. And, you know, that shifts the energy. That's not putting what you want out there. And I love how he said you need to have your business be a reflection of yourself. And I think that's exactly what you and I have done with Infusion Principle.
Totally agreed. And I'm looking at my notes because I also wrote down this little thing that says, the reflection of yourself. We're connected. We are connected. And whether we know it or not, we knew we were supposed to meet in this place and time, Nora. And the universe brought that together. It allowed us to happen. We knew from the people that we had, we were supposed to connect with Bill and Susan and Debbie, and that's who's helping us today and during the summit on air, in addition to everybody watching, in addition to everybody supporting us, in addition to everybody tweeting, in addition to everybody for branding. It's amazing how we all come together in the same place at the same time, and we get to share this gift with each other. And it's because we are all ourselves, and we have something that we get to bring to the table. But it also has to do with communication, doesn't it?
It does.
And our second speaker yesterday was Elena. She talked about communication in the corporate culture and how that can also apply to us, whether we're one person, 5 people, or thousands and thousands of people. Hello, everybody. We are so excited to be talking about culture and communications in this session. Elena we're so excited to have her here.
I'm a communications professional. I love corporate culture. I love engagement. It excites me to know that people get to work and just feel so fabulous, and that really does a lot for the bottom line. It's really no accident when team members feel good, when they get to work, they're performing exceptionally. It all correlates with how leaders connect with them. Internal communications and deliberate engagement. Simple equation I want to propose to all of you. Your vision plus your people plus how you connect and communicate equals your business results. And it's all about a trust, it's all about the empathy, and it's about making people feel really good. Hiring for fit, I think that is the first thing that you can do to ensure that your vision really is maximized at every turn. And it's so critical for you as a leader to then make sure that people understand your vision. Showcase how individual behaviors actually drive the bottom line. People need to really understand how their contributions are driving your numbers. Allowing people to just smile constantly. And that's all about recognition. And I cannot stress it enough because it's free. It is at the core of what makes people feel good. But it's all about just saying thank you. Keep that energy alive. Prioritize comms. Make it part of your daily rituals. People will feel aligned, they will feel engaged, and they will absolutely want to go that extra mile for you.
I'm telling you, it's true. What we say, how we say it, excuse me, oh my gosh. I always want to say Elena, she really brought it together when she was talking about the fact that if you communicate well, if you put it out there, if you're consistent in that message, people will understand and they will stand by you because they get it.
And I just love that affirmation for us because you and I meet every morning, and most mornings, especially during the summit, we've been meeting with our entire team. So it was one of those, yes, we are doing this right, and absolutely, our communication is strengthened because we have taken that step without even knowing we were supposed to.
And I have to tell you, even in all of this, one of the things I love about our team is that we are safe enough and close enough that anything that bothers any one of us, because we all go in waves and sometimes we're calm and sometimes we're not, it's great that we have this open communication and a trust and a safety built in that we can express that in a way that we know we're going to be heard, we know we're going to be supported, and we know that no matter what happens, it was the right thing to happen at the right time.
Well, and I would say that is totally strengthened, and that comes entirely from you. You have built that arena of trust and the ability to share, and you are very reaffirming with this was supposed to happen.
Holy macaroni. Well, thanks, Nora. That took me a little off guard. So I'm gonna receive that. Thank you. But you know, it does take a village, and even though I appreciate being able to have that foundational piece, unless everybody else showed up and gave the same way, what we have wouldn't work. And it does start with the communication, which starts with the story. And we told our story of Parpar yesterday when we were talking to Nora. And Nora was talking to us, Nora Richardson was talking to us about the power of branding and our markets that are around and available to us.
Today we're going to have some fun, and we're going to really talk about the stereotypes that have been limiting you, that you didn't even know were limiting you when you're trying to target females. If you're not targeting females, you should be. Female customers account for $7 trillion in spending in the U.S. 91% of women say that advertisers don't understand them at all. Huh. Why is that? Number one preconception. To attract women, your branding must be pink and girly. Curly cues, scallop borders, script fonts, you too. Women only respond to flowery copy to convince them to purchase. As the third preconception is women like imagery of the young and youthful, and they don't want to see people their own age. Well, in fact, that is absolutely wrong. People tend to want a bulleted list of what women want and how women think, but it comes down to an honest truth. Life isn't that black and white, or blue and pink in this case. Often what works for one audience works because it follows a greater concept of good design and good messaging to create a memorable experience. A well-thought-out brand will appeal to both genders, focusing on this aspect of knowing how your target audience processes information is the pivoting point of branding. A brand must speak to us as humans and must understand us as humans living in the 21st century first, way before designing to appeal to a specific gender. Knowing these differences is imperative moving forward because it's going to help you think how you need to do and how you need to position your goodies.
That's right. Your goodies, your product, your service. Man, Nora was awesome all the way around. Her energy, her love. It must be the name. It must be Nora.
We like fun. And I love that was her word of the day. Or her word for her message.
It really was. Of the clip that we just shared, the fact that she talked about the fact that we're all human and that there are a lot of elements that bring us all together. So when we're thinking about our target audiences, we aren't necessarily thinking about just gender anymore. We're thinking about lifestyles. We're thinking about interests. We're thinking about hobbies. We're thinking about what drives our passion and our heart instead of how old we are we male or female, what is our income, which, by the way, all those still matter.
Well, and I would say that designing something or creating a brand for yourself doesn't necessarily work. Creating a brand just for your target audience or clients doesn't work. It needs to be a mix of the two, and I think that's what's so special about working with Nora, the other one.
Well, you two. We would just put different words in front of it. And when I think about, I think about the humanness of it, and I think about the story. One of the things that she talked about was taking the time to think about your story and thinking about what is the brand. Not who, yes, customers are great. Yes, knowing what your product is great, but actually understanding what does this brand stand for? What needs to come across in this logo to communicate the word or words that you are looking for in your business, so when somebody starts to come to your page, we're within the seconds that you have, they're already making that emotional connection. The filtering that our brains do automatically, that judgment, I'm going to use it, judgment that our brains do to help us deal with the noise that we have around us all the time, it matters, and it starts in the things that we tend to look at last.
No question. We do have that, and it's all about creating that purpose and having the clarity of who you are and who you are working with.
We gotta leave room for fun, don't we? That purposeful action that we bring for ourselves, for our business, that's really what it's all about.
Exactly right, and I think a lot of people shy away from branding and figuring out who it is that they really want to work with, because that does take work. But sometimes that's the best, juiciest part, and I think something that's been repeated through all of our speakers has been know who that person is, know who you're targeting, know who you are, know who you want to work with, and make things fun. Do what you love.
Ah, that was what I was looking for. It has to start with the self. It has to start, and we say the self, right? If you are a solopreneur, it is just you. If you are a team like Nora and myself with these amazing people that we have brought in to help us achieve all of this, like Phil and Debbie and Susan for this part of it, and I mean, I have to tell you, Phil is, he's technical genius. So
The man.
he's the man. And you know,
Man.
what?
What?
Did you
I
just
agree
call
with
him ma'am?
I said he's the man.
Oh, the man. I'm sorry. So sorry. I was like, you can't call him ma'am on air. What is that? Anyway, I guess you can. See? It's all about it. What do I know? We're changing the shape of things. We're flying with the uncomfortable. How do you feel stifled right now, or do you feel creatively empowered?
Was that a question for me or a question for the audience?
Hey, you actually asked the question for the audience. Do you remember what it was? What do you do when uncomfortable? Is that what it was?
Yeah. What are something along the lines of what are the characteristics or traits that someone who is really confident about what they're doing, and how can you tell when someone's really confident in what they're doing?
So that is
Or
the question.
just like that.
What?
Oh, okay. Apparently, I have been corrected. So it's about comfort zone.
That would our flying capes and our imagery. That's true. How do you feel outside of your comfort zone? And I can tell you, it is the place I know when I'm there, I'm growing. I know when I'm there, I am looking for par because I'm looking for that gift from the universe that can be whatever I want it to be. And that's also the hardest time for me to actually honor that. So when I'm like, oh, I can't even think about any of that stuff. Right on, in uncomfortable. How about you, Nora?
Wait, that makes me think of the photo shoot, and I can't say the whole idea of flying through the air was the most comfortable thing to think about. But I love the photo, and it worked out, and it's amazing what happens when you step outside your comfort zone and do something that you didn't even think you could do. Like fly through the air.
And we fly every day, which is pretty neat. And some of us may walk, I have to tell you, because there are two things. Like my husband Ryan, he's like, okay, I'm going to do everything that I do, and I trust that the next step I take, there will be ground underneath my feet. It might be so foggy, I can't see what's going on, but I know that the ground is going to be there. And then there's me on the other side that I'm like, whatever, I can't see, let's just hope when I fly there's not a tree. And and we just go with it.
I'm glad you're not worried about skyscrapers, just trees.
Just the trees. Well, that's where I live, right? I live in the forest. So let's talk about self-confidence, though, because both of those things, whether we're stepping forward when we don't know where we're going, we know what our end goal might be, we might have a general plan, but we might find ourselves in a place where our general plan apparently doesn't line up with our end goal, and we're being told because there's this dissonance and this discord, and we have to act even though we're not ready, things aren't working, and it just seems really crazy. And when we're in that place, that's when, if we really know ourselves and what we've learned from the first day and the second day, the common theme is you, your heart, and your brain in alignment, then you know that whatever decision that has to be made or needs to be made is just going to get the information to get everything else to fall into place to continue to move forward.
You always make me just stop and think. I have nothing to add to that.
All right. Well, then why don't we just talk about our intention for the day?
Woohoo!
Yeah. We'll just move
Have
right
fun.
along. What'd you say?
Is it to have fun?
It is to have fun. It's also, here's what I wrote verbatim. So let's see if this resonates with you. Our intention for the day, don't think too much about what happened. Think about what can be because of what you know now. Think about what can be because of what you know now.
I think that's beautiful. I mean, it's one of those things where you can't be focusing on the past. You have to check in with yourself in the present and know where you want to go in the future.
Yep. And I'm going to use this, those of you who watch Women in Business, this will be a slight variation of that, because we talked about grow where you are planted, or a show Once Upon a Time, and one of the things that I said in that was, you know what, takes a pile of manure sometimes to have the best flowers that bloom. So life is supposed to be not easy. I mean, it's not supposed to just come to you. It's the growth and the character and the wisdom comes through the trials and the tribulations, and it's what you do with those trials and tribulations. Do you use it as fertilizer to add to a garden, or yourself? Well, yeah, yourself. Are you using that for yourself to become a flower, or are you going to just let it be there for the flies?
Well, and you know me, I always have to go back to the manifesto. So create cool things with cool people ties right into confidence. And I think the reason you and I have been so confident going into this summit, which has been a massive undertaking, is that we've surrounded ourselves with really cool people that know what they're doing, so that way we know things are covered.
Yeah, we did. We totally stretched out of our comfort zone. We
Trusted, delegated.
We flew. We walked. And when we're thinking about uncomfortable, one of the things I love about what's coming up in the summit today. Okay, so today we have 4 amazing speakers. We have David Amerland, we have Cynthia Bazin, we have Stephanie Sims, and we have Mally. And Mally, I'm not going to pronounce your last name right, Rydzik or Ridzik. And we will get it right when you actually come on the show this afternoon. And each one of these guys are talking about looking at both internally and externally in some capacity and taking a look at the things we might not want to look at. We might want to stick our heads in the sand and go, oh, I'm just not ready to deal with that. And the power that comes from the uncomfortableness of going through the motions, of thinking through the things that we're trying to do and we want to do, so that everything is in place for our creative flow.
I'm so excited. It is an awesome, awesome lineup. It is going to be 4 hours of learning and fun and knowing more about yourself and how you want to communicate.
That's right. And there's still time to register. The registration and the videos from our summit are available through August 21st. So if you're like, oh, today this sounds really cool. I saw Christine's show on Saturday on CLB Live. I watched It's Your Business yesterday with Nora and myself, or today, or tomorrow you stop in and you're like, hey, this is really cool. I want to see these speakers. You can still go to you'vegotthisonline.com and join us. Thanks very much. We'll see you in just a little while.